Honestly, I can't believe it. He's eating cake live on air. Unbelievable.
Sorry.
Goodness me. See, I forgot to go and get my Easter egg because I got an Easter egg in the kitchen. So,
unbelievable.
Incroyable, as the French would say.
You know, I've started, so I may as well finish. Evening all. Everybody all right? Everybody got cake?
This is peak IMC. This is absolute cake again. Cheers, me dears. Oh my!
A very happy Easter.
Yeah, happy Easter to everybody. Happy Easter, I do believe its origins are. It's the Roman festival of Easter, wasn't it?
Yes, it's very, as with most of these festivals, they're invariably a mishmash of
other things.
Other things, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we've got some things to talk about tonight. We've got some projects to talk about tonight. Drew's got some cake to eat. Yeah, you don't exactly see Michael Burke tucking away to a Sainsbury's chocolate cake on 9 o'clock news. I
think you should. I think it'd make it much more homely.
I think it would. Yeah. Theron Hampton says, "What does that mean, Jonathan? What does what mean? Did I use a big word that I didn't know the meaning of?"
It'd be very unlikely. For you to use big words, I mean, not for ones that you wouldn't know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, fair enough. We'll find out. Anyway, welcome to the show. As we may have alluded to on the Facebook page, we're in that wonderful time of the year in this country when the clocks go forward for an hour. Yes, that would be better.
Although anybody saw my Facebook page earlier, they'll have noticed my discombobulation at Easter and all the shops being shut. That's the clocks went forward last night, but it feels like they went back to 1975.
Well, that's why I made the point yesterday of going down the shops and getting myself extra food just in case. So
honestly, never occurred to me, not even for a split second, that the shops wouldn't be open.
They're open on Good Friday, but not on Easter Sunday. Anyway, people tuned in to watch a modelling show. They're two middle-aged men from Somerset talking about Easter while one of them stuffs his gob hole full of cake.
But it should be mentioned that I did find a corner shop that had cake.
Yeah,
it's not bad cake either, I have to be honest.
No, I had. I've got to say, I had lovely hot cross buns this morning, courtesy of friend Tara, which was absolutely splendid. So
I will be finished just momentarily.
Okay, shall I? I tell you what, I will go to my workshop camera whilst you're filling your face, and well, we have been putting colour on the Meng Dune kits, or Dune Part 2, Dune Part 1, Dune Part 2, and yeah, and what first of all, Meng don't really give you any kind of colour clues as to what these things are. So I kind of winged it a bit. I'm just reaching over to the paint rack here. I winged it a bit, and based on the illustrations on the front, I decided to paint them in kind of like olivey colours.
Olivey colours.
Sorry?
Olivey colours.
Olivey. Well, let me go and get the box. Let me go and get the boxes for a moment, because there's the box for that. And I don't know about you, Drew, but that looks like olive drab, doesn't it?
I wouldn't be I wouldn't argue. Put it that way. It's
very dusty olive drab,
it's very, very. You could do that anything from mid brown to a grey, and I don't think anybody could honestly.
No.
And you know, nobody could really gainsay your choice.
I'm sure someone will try.
Well, yeah, obviously somebody will try. No, that's not what it was.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing you've got in the kit, which is any kind of guidance, is where the enormous number of decals go on it. And yeah, that's it. This is not a toy. So I decided to go for an olive drab color, bearing in mind this is going to get layers and layers and layers of dust on it. I know. And so I base coated it with the beautiful the Scale Modelers Supply olive drab. Drew, have you actually got around to using any of this paint at the moment?
No, I haven't.
What?
I'm sorry, I just haven't. Things haven't panned out that way.
Right, just give that a quick clean, because I know how hot you are. Let me rephrase that.
Woo!
I know. I know how hot you are on lacquer paints. You know, you are.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've discussed this about SMS repeatedly, and I will get round to it in due course.
I'm going to do another live pop-up live where I'm going to spray some of this again, because that came out of the bottle unthinned, and it was about 20 psi, about between 15 20 psi. It does
look like it went down very, very nicely.
Utterly magnificent paint, it really is. And I was following your method of kind of like wet to wet edges, and and within minutes of me spraying it, it's actually dry. Now I leave it alone for a good couple of hours under the spray booth protector, i.e. the cake stand, and but yeah, then it's fine. But yeah, this was painted a couple of hours ago, and it's just absolutely beautiful paint. It's also got a nice sheen to it as well. So
I mean, talking of June Spice Harvesters,
go on.
This week I ordered all three of the little Meng kits from Jadlam.
Yeah.
So that's the Harkonnen Ornithopter, the House Atreides Ornithopter, and the Spice Harvester.
Yeah.
And the package was delivered yesterday.
Yeah.
And this is what I got in the package.
Two Spice Harvesters.
Two Spice Harvesters. Yes. So I was absolutely outraged, and I was ready to start.
You went on the internet, didn't you?
I went on the internet. I was ready to start tapping away to Jadlam models with righteous indignation. I thought I'll just check my order first, and then went, oh. Yes. Guess who somehow managed to trade one of his House Atreides Ornithopters for a second Spice Harvester, which is, I have to say, it is a warning to those trying to order on a mobile phone, because these sorts of little things, these sort of little errors are very much more likely to happen on a small screen than they are on a big screen. So, but I mean, what are they? 12 quid each, aren't they? So at this point, I've just gone, you know what? I've got two Spice Harvesters. That's fine. I'll pick up the House Atreides and Ornithopter in due course. But like you, John, that's where I am with the Harkonnen Ornithopter at the moment.
Right, because what I decided was I thought that the House Harkonnen ones are so kind of like, because they've only got three blades on them, 6 blades rather, 3 each side. I decided that this would be in kind of flight mode, whereas the House Atreides one, that one is, there it is, it's coming to me a grey primer at the moment. That one's going to be all folded back.
Right.
So and this one will be sat on its undercarriage, whereas the House Harkonnen one will be on the stand. Now
Yeah,
I've got
my Harkonnen one will be
yep
will be on the stand in due course.
Brilliant.
Like so. But I mean, I have to say, John, I'm absolutely blown away.
They're good, aren't they?
Meng are just, absolutely on top of the game at the moment, aren't they?
They are tremendous.
I mean, this is for me.
Yeah.
This represents no more than 30 minutes work over the last day here and there.
Yeah, pretty much the same here.
If I was going to be incredibly nitpicky, I would rather the nose piece had been clear so that the modeler had the choice to try and do something with it.
Yep.
But that aside, the actual, when you get really close to this and like really in close on the detail,
yep,
the actual detail on this model is phenomenal.
Yep.
They've really, really, Meng are just, they are fast becoming one of the best of the Chinese manufacturers. Full stop.
Yep. No, I'm with you on that. And in fact, once you get a coat of primer on these things, the detail really pops.
It just pops, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But everything about it, I mean, even that as a piece of packaging is just beautiful, isn't it?
Yep. There we go.
It just completely grabs you and drags you in, and says, I just buy me.
Yep. Absolutely.
So I think they've got a 72nd scale. I think it's the House Atreides ornithopter coming.
Ornithopter,
which will be a big old. Hopefully, a Harkonnen one will follow. But I mean, based on this, I think they're great subject. I think they're beautifully realised actually in the film as well. And so, I mean, and I've watched the film about 3 times now, because the first time I didn't pay attention, so I didn't really get it or enjoy it. The second time I thought, wow, this is amazing. And the third time I was trying to pick up all the stuff that I missed the second time when I paid attention. I think that it's a really, really great film.
I'm looking forward to I'm supposed to be going to the cinema in the next couple of weeks with my friend Jackie, who we went to see part Un 3 years ago. So we're going to see part Dukes soon. And also, hold your horses, folks. I still haven't gone to see Lizard Monkey film at the moment.
Yeah, what are you doing? What are you playing at?
Are you the real Jonathan Mock? I know, it's my friend Laura. She texted me on Friday to say she went to see it with her boys, and
quite frankly, I'm disgusted, sir.
I know. What's the country coming to?
I'm just absolutely disgraceful.
Yeah, absolutely. It's already made nearly 200 million at the box office, and it's only been out for 3 days. So clearly the world is in the mood for lizards punching monkeys. So there we go.
Apes.
Well, not even a lizard, Also, I'm just going to say very quickly, Oscar win for the boy. Brilliant. Absolutely fabulous. You saw that, didn't you?
I don't pay any attention to the Oscars, so
okay. Godzilla -1 with its $12 million picked up the Oscar for best visual effects.
Yes,
incroyable, as the French would say. There we go. There's that French again. So I will just quickly say the House Harkonnen one.
Can we get this right? House Harkonnen. It's not Harkonnen.
All right, Harkonnen then. All right, hark at him. I've gone for. I went for some SMS German olive, but I don't know. I think it bit pale, isn't it? I think it needs to be.
I don't know. I really like that color.
Do you?
I really like that color. Yeah.
Okay.
RM80, is it?
That is a RAL 6003. So
okay.
It will contrast with the Atreides one, because the Atreides one will also be olive drab. So I think you just need a bit of contrast, really, don't you? Also, I did get round to doing the tracks, which were great fun. So I just zoom in for a second, extreme close up. I painted the track parts black, and then did the inserts, painted them separately, and then just pushed them in. So they literally then lock onto the feet there, or the legs, or whatever you call it. So yeah. But I might do a live, because the way I'm going to weather this is it's going to be a sludge wash. It's just going to be lots and lots of muck mixed up with pigments, just slopped on, and then we'll just brush it off. So but no, I am having tremendous fun with these. It's well out of my comfort zone, and
yeah. I mean, I don't generally build a lot of sci-fi stuff. In fact, barely any. But it's as much. It feels very similar to how I feel about a Tamiya kit. The subject is almost irrelevant. It's the quality of the kit when you get it out of the box here. And Meng have absolutely nailed it. It's just beautiful. So yeah, I will deliberately choose some different scheme for mine against yours, because it doesn't really matter, does it?
Oh, you can't say that. It'll upset somebody somewhere.
Yeah, I'm sure it will. But I mean, I've been upsetting people this weekend already, haven't I? So
that's fine. Yeah, you've been very good at it. So it's like you're a professional.
Yeah. Welcome,
we mentioned the 70-second scale one. There we go. That's the Atreides on the top. That image.
Please, I will be having that.
Yeah. So
somebody said that works out in 70-second. If you do it with the wings extended, it's a foot. It's 12 inches in wingspan. It's a big old bus, isn't it?
It is a big old bus. Right, we're before we get on to part 2 of the Sunday service, I'm just going to say a big hello to Damien Mullen, Russell Taylor, Mark Ryan, Kev Tinker, Phil, Dave Swindle, Nick Brown, Dougal McWoogle, Simon James Colley, Sean Smith, Jet Scale Models, Lee Suter, Travis Thompson, Anthony Bird, Rob Suto, Andy King, Theron Hampton, Mike Williams, Peter Oxley, Stephen Pryor, David Mummery, Bruce Bell, Go For It Painting. Why not indeed? Neighbour Jared literally lives just over the hill from me. In fact, Jared, we must meet up at Sanford Station at some stage, because they've got an excellent little tea room there. Anyway, Michael Hooverling, Ian Goldstraw, Davros Halfbeard. His parents must have been cruel giving him a name like that. Rory's modelling page, Colin Strachan, Greg Woodbridge, Christopher Joseph Buchholz, yay! Steve Moores, Bill Clark, Dave Coward, Peter Oxley, John Huston, scrolls down, Ophir Cohen, David Mummery, Simon Lewis. Do you know what, Drew? I'm just going to cut in there, because we are joined by a guest, and joining us from the Americas, it's Mike. Hi, Mike. How you doing?
God, I told you not to do that.
Well, I didn't beg for it.
Hello, Mike.
Happy Easter.
And you.
And you, Mike. And you. Very, very many happy...
Something.
Many happy resurrections.
Yeah, happy resurrection. Yay!
Anyway, cheers, me dears.
Cheers.
I expected Mike to bring a beer up then. I'm disappointed.
Yeah. There we go. He's got one. Shall we dip into the news, and then Mike, you are more than free to join in, because let me just call up the first news story here. There's a bit of a theme tonight, but it seems the world has gone SDKFZ 234 Puma mad, and we're getting 2 new 35th scale kits, one from Ryfield Model, the other from Mini Art, which we'll deal with in a second. Up until now, I do believe, gents, that the only game in town has been the venerable Italeri kit, hasn't it?
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I would sort of bow to your knowledge on that, because it's not something I've got any interest in. But I'm sure it. Really?
I'm
Not
sure
even
somebody.
clear.
I'm sure somebody in the comments will correct me on that. But bear in mind I can't remember anything from the last 18 months. But I'm
Oh, let
pretty
it go.
Yeah, no, let it go. Let it go. Let it go.
I think all of these 8-wheeled vehicles from the German side all kind of look the same, sort of, just to my general eye. So I had always thought maybe Tamiya did one, because I swear I've seen something like that in the Tamiya range.
They reboxed the Italeri kit.
All right then.
Yeah.
I'm like you, Mike. They all pretty much look the same to me. So
Dragon have done one. Dragon did one a few years ago. There we go. I mean, it just falls off the radar, doesn't it? With their interesting distribution, I think is the best way of putting it.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Would be a word.
Yeah. I'm just having a look. I'm just on ScaleMates at the moment, and okay. Yeah, Italeri, Tamiya, which was a rebox of the Italeri kit, Academy, which was a rebox of the Italeri kit. So yeah, apparently Dragon have done one. The Italeri kit, incidentally, first appeared in 1980. For some reason, I thought it was the 70s, but anyway, shall we dive on? Because I think for many of us, our first experience of the Puma would have been Drewe.
The Matchbox kit.
The Matchbox kit, indeed.
And that was 72nd scale, correct? Or 76th?
76, yeah.
Yeah.
This is down as being with full interior from Ryfield model. It does look, gotta say, it does look spectacular. And yeah, there's a thing of the sprue bits and everything there. Looks like they give you vinyl tires, which is completely different to how Mini are tackling it, but we'll come to that in a second. But gotta say, chaps, what a fabulous looking vehicle, isn't it?
It is an attractive vehicle. It is.
Yeah.
It's quite a modern looking vehicle, isn't it? If
Yeah.
it wasn't for that, if you took that turret off, it would look pretty much contemporary.
Mm-hmm.
It would look very Russian to me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, except not blown up. Anyway,
That's a whole different story.
That's a whole different story. But yeah, so we are getting a brand new Puma from Ryfield model. But hold your horses a second, because our friends in Mini Art in Ukraine have announced. I'm just going to add that one to the stop screen. Right, let's try it again. It's all right. Everything's suddenly ground to a halt here. They have announced that they're doing a Puma, and it's also got an interior to it. But not content with giving us one kit, they're going to give us two, but we'll come to that in a second. So this is the Mini Art kit, and again, they're giving you the options to open hatches, different stowage, photo etch bits for all the straps and the aerial. Just beautiful looking machine, isn't it? And,
that aerial's going to be fiddly, huh?
You what? Sorry, Mike?
That aerial's going to be fiddly and photo etch. That'll be fun to keep everything straight and lined up.
Mm-hmm. I can see Drew. Getting over his photo etch phobia with that one.
no.
But
Yeah.
there we go. So this. I'm just going to scroll through all the exterior stuff, and there we go. You got the interior with the driver's compartment and the engine, and just looks magnificent, doesn't it?
That engine looks nice. It looks nicer, that engine.
Yeah. I like the way they broke the engine down into like its own pod.
Yeah. Well, we'll come to this in a second, because I think there will be possibly slightly different iterations of this kit. In fact, Mini are doing a version without the interior. I would not be surprised if they did one with like a half interior, so that you get the You get the engine, but not the driver's compartment. We'll see, because we've got some sprue shots coming up in a second. That almost looks like something from Star Wars, doesn't it?
Yeah, does like that, yeah.
Yeah. And also all that fabulous detail there that you're never going to see. So,
and there's going to be a million pieces because it's mini art.
Yeah, exactly.
I think saying there's going to be a million pieces is quite conservative, Mike.
Oh, they're cutting back, are they? Yeah. We'll just scroll through. But yeah, the wheels. So whereas
I've seen this done somewhere this week on YouTube somewhere.
Yeah, it works.
Yeah, I saw somebody building some of these wheels on YouTube this week, and they looked amazing when they were done.
Yeah, I've built a couple of mini art kits where you have to piece the wheels together, the tires together like this, and it works. Brilliant. Yeah, it's labor intensive, but I'd rather have this than vinyl tires. I know it's the irony, isn't it, that you're giving modelers something made out of something that in real life is made out of rubber, and you're molding it in rubber. But but there we go. That's just more views of just like the basic hull. But yeah, absolutely, that just looks incroyable, doesn't it?
Yeah, mini art just in general. I mean, they're P47 and everything. Basically, everything they touch seems to be wonderful.
Yeah,
and they're only getting better. And the engineering on those tires, to me, I've never seen them done like that. I know you guys probably have, but because you do more armor and soft sides. It's brilliant that the seams are literally in the bottom of the tread that you will never see them.
No, I did that for the tractor that I built for my late friend Mr. Hamer. The wheels, the tires on that were the same, and you sat and you think to yourself, this is done just to kind of like save tooling costs. No, it's not. It genuinely isn't.
But do you remember the Tamiya Mosquito wheels?
Yeah,
where you build it up like piece by piece for the tread, and it's and you're going, oh my word, this is not going to. Oh, hello. that's rather swish, isn't it? So
wow,
nice weld detail there.
Great weld detail.
Yeah, and so these are sprue shots. I just love the Puma, and like I say, this goes back to Matchbox back in the mid to late 70s when they released their kit, and I just think it's a fabulous looking vehicle. So we'll just scroll through these Mini Art's own shots of the test shots. But
galvanized plating, like on the floorboards, looks absolutely amazing.
Yep. And there are the wheels with logos on them.
Look at those Pioneer tools. Look at that Pioneer tool. Look at that. That was amazing.
Like that.
That just looks amazing, doesn't it?
Yep.
I'll break it, getting it off the sprue.
I never said I wouldn't break it. I said it looks amazing.
However, not contented with that, and for some of us who perhaps don't want to spend weeks building a model where all we're doing is an interior that you're never going to see, they are doing a stripped down version, and so this will still have the photo etch bits in it, but they're not putting the interior bits in there. So
see, that appeals to me far more.
Yeah, it appeals to me. Yeah,
and that box art's a nice color scheme as well.
Yeah, and I think the only innards they're giving you are for the turret, but everything else has been dispensed with. So I think this is going to be probably cheaper as well. But this is definitely the one I will be going for.
Same.
Yep, and I've got nothing against interior kits. In fact, I've built a couple, but it just, I think when you spend all that time, it's great when you're photographing it and cataloging it, and then you see the finished model and you think, well, there's like 10 days or 2 weeks of my life that I'll never get
Yeah,
back.
it's almost like the interior kit's almost become like 2 projects.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah,
I like that thing.
I bought, I think it was Amusing Hobbies T72, I think.
Mhm.
Full interior and everything. And I'm like, you won't see anything.
Mm-hmm.
Literally anything inside that thing, unless you do some sort of cutaway or have it blown up, which could be appropriate with the turret blown off. But then I love the idea, and I love that people can do it. But for me, I could not spend 30 to 40 hours or more knowing that I'm never going to see it.
Yeah.
No. I mean, I'm very much the same. I was thinking about this the other day actually, and whilst I know it's their brigade, I kind of admire them doing it, but at the same time, I think there's no way in a million years I'm not going to build something I'm not going to see.
Right.
Yeah.
And jet scale models, I agree. I certainly appreciate your approach as well. But for me, I get to a point where it has to be, number one, something I'm really passionate about to even bother doing something like that. If not, it's more about just getting the model built and making it look cool and putting it in my display case back there, which there's very few in right now, but whatever. That's another story for another day.
It's interesting just having a look here. We've got the sprue layouts, and you can see how Mini Art have broken this down so that they can swap out stuff that isn't needed for certain other releases. So it's very intelligently done. And this is, you know, I know we tend to eulogize about Mini Art on this program, but for good reason, because they so intelligent the way they do these things. And that's the full interior kit there. So there's a lot of bits, but I think that's going to be considerably slimmed down for the vanilla release. So,
and I think we've had this conversation, or at least you guys have had this conversation about Mini Art in general. How and you just alluded to it, Jonathan, that they're brilliant in the way they break things down so they can use said sprues in other.
Yeah.
It's there.
To me, I think
they are next to me are the most cutting edge of at least being able to market and get the most out of everything, versus some of the other companies that, you know, we're just going to throw everything in the box and then we're going to do another variant and keep everything in that same box because we didn't break up the sprues, and now you're going to get more sprues and blah 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 blah. It just, you know, kind of snowballs. And I think Armor is unique in this way because there's so many different versions of Armor that are so much the same, but slightly different enough.
Oh, I mean, Dragon just made for years they were doing sort of, they were literally doing Tiger tanks of a 1 week time period, weren't they?
Right.
In one, you know, and it was, you know, it felt like they were literally doing that every month. There was a new release of a Tiger or something that was, you know, this factory between this and this date sort of thing. And it was just really.
This Tiger tank this Tiger tank that came off the production line on May the 13th, 1944, and got 150 yards down the road before it was taken out by Sherman Firefly. That kit. And it's like, oh, that one. I remember that one. Very famous Tiger tank. So, and jet scale models, yeah, very good. So the sprue numbering system is whack, though. Yeah, it is. You can be sat there going backwards and forwards quite a bit, but I would argue value for money. Spending more time on a model. You're not.
That's right.
Not like Drew and I today, where we've been banging out June kits in half an hour. We have been. You know, that takes time.
Well, I was just sticking that together whilst I was doing something else in between getting these printed tracks onto this Abrams I'm building.
All right.
You know, it's just do a bit of that and then like stick a little bit of the ornithopter together. So,
have you got your Abrams on the desk in front of you?
I have.
Yeah, all right then. Go on then. Go for it, Tiger.
Well, so
Are these your own tracks that you did, Drew? I know
they're
you did
not they are from a gentleman from the Philippines, Carlos from the Philippines. Yeah, I mean, it's they're built up from multiple pieces each, and they've been glued in place. And I just, it's they haven't gone perfectly around some areas, but that's down to me, not the tracks. But that side looks pretty good. But you can see there's still some of it's still mobile on there, even while I've used glue on other parts. But yeah, that's the T156 track for early Abrams, which they need more weathering yet. They've had a dust coat, but this is the Panda kit, which is very average, shall we say?
Well, it's Panda. You might as well call it. You might as well just call it Kitty Hawk.
Well, yeah, I mean, and everything that made people dislike Kitty Hawk holds true of this. It's just, it's not great molding. It's quite funky in a lot of ways. It's like they're like the B team of the Chinese manufacturers, where your Mengs and your Royfield models and your Tacoms and people are the Premier League. These are kind of like these are the Sunday League sort of thing. And that said, I have warmed to it as I built it more, but then I've been doing, I sat down and, designed my own.
I thought that came out great, dude.
Yeah, it did. It did. I mean, like I say, it's not I have used worse barrels on tank kits before, but I really wanted to see if I could print this design and print my own one. And then I managed to get it to print out with the
rifling.
With the muzzle reference system in place, with the rifling and the barrel. So yeah, it all went rather well, actually, in spite of the fact that ended up being a 21-hour print.
For such
Story
a small
of my
part.
life, Drew. Story of my life.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, you look at it and you think that's a 21-hour print, but on something like I could probably get 15 of those on a Mars 4 bed.
Right.
If I was printing for commercially, I could probably get 15 of those on a Mars 4 bed, probably 25 near 30 on a Saturn bed. So looked at it in that light, it's not so bad, is it? I mean, the fact that I was just printing out one to test it, and it took 24 hours, or 22 hours it was actually. That's not quite so efficient, but as a test piece, I tested it out, and immediately it came out, and I went, well, that's it. I don't really need another barrel at the moment. So I gave that a coat of primer and then sanded it off to see what the printing lines were like, and that's literally one swipe with some 800 grit wet and dry.
Right, and that's the one thing that I still struggle with explaining to people, that you're still, even at 12K, print lines are going to happen. It's
absolutely.
It's the nature of the beast. It's the nature of how this thing works.
I've
also discovered that if you have really faint print lines, to me, a lacquer thinner on on a Q-tip will rub them down completely. And then if you throw a little coat of primer on, they're gone.
I will say, when I actually given this a coat of Tamiya fine primer, when it was dry and I looked at it, I could not see any lines.
Right.
The only time I actually managed to see any lines was when I started sanding it, just to see what it looked like. And then obviously you sanding off the primer starts to expose where the lines are.
And you're removing surface.
Yeah. So you're removing the high spots. But I will say that were I to do another one of these, or when I do another one of these barrels for another vehicle, I probably won't even bother sanding it.
Yeah.
Because it's that, the lines, I could not see the lines until I started sanding. So yeah, I mean, it's let's say it's not a fantastic model, but I think it'll be close enough for what I want. And I just wanted to do it's actually going to be pretty much a what if, because for some reason I wanted to do the Red Desert scheme from the early 80s, but I don't think an Abrams ever wore that scheme, but I'm going to do it anyway. So
your model, your rules.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
your house, your display case.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's a nice scheme, and I just, for some reason, I really want to do it. And if I'm blunt, this Panda kit probably doesn't deserve an awful lot more of my time than that. He says, having just spent sort of 2 days refining a gun barrel for it.
But you had fun doing it, and it's a learning experience, right?
Yeah. But the thing is, I mean, doing that, it's just now at least I know I've got that barrel.
Right.
So, you know, with a little bit of modification on the breech end, I can make it fit the Tamiya kit, because I've got a bunch of the Tamiya early Abrams kits as well. But I will say, I really like early Abrams, and the story isn't closed. If anybody wants to have a go at an early Abrams, Panda didn't close the door on that by a wild stretch of any imagination. So I would really like to see some early Abrams. I just want to. I wish that late sort of mid 70s through to 1990 armor was more popular, and more companies would get back to doing it. And certainly the early 80s US stuff in Germany and stuff is just a, you know, brilliant period of history for US armor. And I'd like to see more of it.
It's kind of when we came into our own, I think, after Vietnam, and you know, the development of the Abrams and the all these other, you know, even some of the soft skins, the Humvee. I mean, you name it. Just
I mean, really. I mean, you think of that early 80s time, and you think Abrams, Bradley, and Humvee are the three sort of real new pieces of
very Verlinden time, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely, it is. You know, all those Verlinden dioramas, and I think, you know, 40 years on, I think it's time that perhaps a company a bit more serious than Panda Models revisited some of those. So. You know, we keep our fingers crossed. I know Spencer feels the same way about that period. So there's so many really cool color schemes and stuff going on.
Oh, absolutely, and just in different variants with bolt-on stuff, and you know, as the battlefield dictated things, they would change things, just like, I mean, any other period, right? But it was very much the heyday, I think, of modern U.S. armor.
Yeah, I mean, because Europe at that point was still full of M60s as the Abrams came in. So there's like, you know, hundreds and hundreds of M60s in cool camouflage schemes as well. The M60's been done quite well over the last few years, I think, especially, you know, all the different variants. So we're pretty well catered for. But early Abrams and early Bradley, still a bit of a dry spell, if you like. And
there's plenty of them still around.
Oh yeah. I mean, most of the M1A2 SEPs, they are X105 early Abrams stripped out and rebuilt. You know, because there's a couple of thousand of them lying around in the desert, and so they've actually, rather than build the holes from new, they were taking those and stripping them back, and turning them into the very latest Abrams. So there's still a lot of those in the desert. So. Yes, but that's I mean, and the like I say, doing the little ornithopter in between.
Wow, is that small?
Yeah. It's tiny, Mike. It's just...
looks like a toothpick.
It virtually is, but I mean that's the box it comes in, Mike.
No kidding, huh?
They are, to be fair, they are cheap as chips, kind of entry level kits, aren't they, Drew?
They are, but they are phenomenally well detailed as well.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Yeah. It's just a stunning level of detail in these.
Yeah.
And
so
I'm just
putting the tracks on the Spice Harvester, and that's proving to be interesting. I really should reach up and get the drill and open up these track pads a bit more, but I'm just being so bloody minded at the moment that I'm not. I'm just doing it. I'm just forcing them on, and
that drill is just too
short. Yeah. Hold your horses, everybody. Let me just hold this, because we've just had a bip turn up, and there's the bip.
Oh God! Hello, Spence. All right.
And he's gone.
He's gone.
He didn't stay long, did he? We'll try that again. He'll be back. He'll be back in a second. I think he's having connectivity issues.
Not Spencer.
Is a polite way of putting it.
Hey, Juan Francisco Molinado. Same with me. I think everybody here would say that Francois Verlinden was a gigantic influence in their modeling. I still have every book he ever wrote.
Yeah, here he is. He's back again. I will say that I first came across Verlinden in the Tamiya catalogue that Ben Simpu, who owned the local model / toy / bike shop, gave me the Tamiya catalogue that year. Anyway, he's here. Wing Commander Pollard. Oh no, he's not. He's wearing a football shirt. How you doing, Spence?
I'm good. I just thought I'd pop in and say hello.
Yeah, I've done that now. Goodbye.
Well,
See you later.
Spencer's in a good mood today, aren't you, Spence, after those results?
I'm in a very good mood this week. I was in a very good mood last week as well, as you might imagine.
Yeah, I can imagine,
Yes, and I do have my tickets for Wembley, just so that if anybody's wondering about that, if there are any Wolves fans on here.
I think they're talking about football, Mike.
We're talking about football.
Well, that's not American football, so I don't care.
That's not football. That's egg chasing.
That's
right,
hand
here
egg.
we go.
How would they call it football when it's hand egg?
I don't know, man. You know what? I didn't name it. I wasn't there. I don't give a crap. It's
Yada yada yada.
Yada yada yada.
Actually, I love the game of. We call it soccer. You guys call it football. I do love the game. So. It's like ice hockey,
the correct term.
But not as
I was relying on you to be my backup, Mike, and now you've spoiled it.
You know what? I didn't mean to.
Although
Too late. No.
Drew has been to a game. He has been to
I have. I went to a game on New Year's Day, didn't I?
You went to see Coventry.
Yeah. I went to see Coventry beat Middlesbrough.
Yeah, with your friend who's a Middlesbrough fan, which is really awkward.
And let me guess, Drew, there was more alcohol involved than actually watching the pitch.
Well, no, because I had to drive.
I
had to drive, so there was no alcohol involved. Sadly. But yeah, it was a good day out. I have to say, I enjoyed it. It was fun.
It was good. Yeah, it was good.
I think any sporting event is fun live.
Yeah. I'd go to any football game live if everybody said, "Come on, we're going to football today." I'd be quite happy to say, "Yeah, okay, let's go."
I'm the same with music. I love live music. Even if I hate country music, but if there's a local band and we're happen to be at the bar and there's a country band playing, I'll hang out and listen.
Mm-hmm.
I'll probably tip a few more of these than
yes,
I normally would. But yeah.
Yes.
Here we go. Christopher says football is great if they break it into 3 periods instead of 2 halves. Have 5 players per side plus a goalie and play out on ice. It would be.
I agree with you, Chris.
I think Christopher is being a little bit mischievous there. Anyway,
Spence plays that same exact sport.
Absolutely, love to have you with us tonight. What are you working on at the moment? Or
nothing. Absolutely zip. Nothing at all.
You got a clear bench.
I have got a very clear bench. Yeah, and I've got an admission as well. The Walker Bulldog that I half painted and everything, I put my foot on and threw in the bin. So that does not exist as a project anymore.
Quitter.
So I'm just going to say that now.
At least I finished mine, and I suck at it.
Do you know, I just finished the I finished the Gannet. That was all done and dusted, so that was out of the way and everything. And I was kind of going around my workshop and planning for the next sort of few builds, and that was sort of sitting there, and I was just looking at it thinking, I'm not going to make this look any better than it looks at the moment, and it doesn't look very good. So I just thought, nah, I'm going to get rid of this. I just didn't want to have it lying around, and I had put an awful lot of work in it as well. It had been detailed and the whole 9 yards and all that sort of stuff. So as it stands, currently I have nothing on my workbench. There's nothing behind me either or in front of me. But my projects are now set for the next sort of month or so. So next one for Marcus is a fully loaded Edward 72nd scale Messerschmitt 109, which is going to be built, and it's going to have all of the brass in engine bay, radio bay, cockpit detail, the whole shooting match. So if you remember the FW190 that I did, similar kind of thing a while back, this is going to be the same. So the 109 is going to be the same. I've got that in hand. I've also got that Aerocraft Type 75, the 3D printed kit that Alistair McLean sent through to me. So that's due to be done. Also, the Marauder that I've been talking about this week, the monogram one, which I have a sneaking suspicion that Mike might have sent me. No, he didn't. He sent me the B25.
Yeah, I did not send the B26.
Yeah. But also, I've dug out this thing as well.
Oh, yeah.
And Dale from Airfix has been in touch with me. So it looks like I'm going to get a 48 scale one of those. And also, I'm hoping to be able to do the B24 Liberator as well at some point. So that's kind of my schedule for the next few months. But at the moment, I don't have anything on the bench. And obviously, with it being Easter, I finished off last week. And with it being Easter, I haven't really sort of got anything planned. So I'll make my mind up what I'm going to do next on Tuesday, I think.
I've had a great Easter in terms of modelling, because I've done about 8 hours modelling every day so far.
It's just brilliant.
It's just been I don't know what, once upon a year that would have been a normal day for me at a weekend.
Yeah.
You just end up, as you get older, you end up not doing it. And this, I've just been plugging away on this Abrams.
I saw that you'd done the gun barrel for the M1. You're doing an IP, aren't you?
Let's go back there. The Panda kit, M1 IP with 3D printed.
And he just broke the 3D printed barrel.
No, 3D printed track and that gun barrel that
Well, and even if you broke it, Drew, you probably got what, 14 more.
Well, this is the only Panda models Abrams I've got. I've got 3 of. I did have 4 of the original Tamiya Abrams. I have 3 because I gave Spencer one.
You did, and in fact, the Abrams that you gave to me is 95% built. It's what I did is I went down a slightly different route to you. So what I did is I used the Tamiya kit, but I added a load of Dragon parts to it.
Okay,
So a load of little details and everything. But it's got the only thing that I haven't done on it so far is along the top of the side skirts. There are kind of like little, I guess they're like little metal strips that have got bolts running along the top of them. So they need to be added. But I've actually got an Edward set for that Panda kit, I think, which I think I'm going to use for the details.
Yeah, there's no point in using it on a Panda kit, put it that way.
No. Well, I caught a little bit of what you said about, the early the Abrams and also the Bradley and everything. I think the world is absolutely crying out for a state-of-the-art M1 and a state-of-the-art M3. There's no doubt about it. I kind of get a bit. This is kind of what I wanted to join. I just thought I'd have a little tiny 30-second rant. I'm kind of a bit bored of the fact that modern kit manufacturers only want to build the latest versions of a particular vehicle. How many more Leopard 2 A6s do we need in this world? How many more Leopard 2 A7s do we need? Can we not just have a state-of-the-art Leopard 1 or a state-of-the-art Leopard 2 or a state-of-the-art M1 or a state-of-the-art M3?
I would like a decent state-of-the-art Leopard 2 to 2A3.
Yes.
The early 80s Leopard 2s.
Yeah.
In olive green with big slab-sided turrets and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, the Meng is very nice, but the Meng one is a 2A4. Which is kind of like the stepping stone to the 2A5. So whilst it has still got the slab-sided turret, it's got all the bells and whistles of a 2A5 in terms of its in terms of its kit and stuff. So it's really not as easy as you'd think to backdate that to like a 2A1 or a 2A2.
It could, of course, be that just I'm completely obsessed with anything that entered service from 1975 to 1985.
Yes.
So,
well, I said
I'm probably not the right person to ask.
I said 1975 to 1990.
You took another 5 years.
Yeah, I took another 5 years because that was kind of like when the original Challenger started coming together as a decent, as a decent thing. But I've got this plan, Spence, and I think you'll be on board here. That when I win the lottery, and I set up my company, the 1/35th scale armor side of it will be called Reforger Models.
Oh God!
And we'll specialize. And we'll
Let's just do
specialize.
that.
And we'll specialize in M1s, M2s, M3s, M60s, early
Yes.
Humvees,
Absolutely.
and
I mean,
and
it's
Challenger ones and stuff like that.
absolutely. I mean, you and I could probably spend the rest of our lives building models within like a 4-year block and nothing else. We only ever want to build aircraft that are in the original color scheme. So A10s in, charcoal.
One.
F-15s from Bitburg, which would please Mike no end, or unless they're 2-seaters, and then he gets a little bit huffy about the whole.
You're fat and ugly.
He says,
I don't even want F-15s from Bitburg. I want F-15s in air superiority blue. Thank you very much.
They were only at Luke.
Luke, yeah, LA tailcoats.
Yeah.
I saw one this weekend.
That's all I need. That's all I need.
I saw TAC 1 this past weekend. It's still at Luke in air
superiority blue Eagles are the best Eagles.
Yeah, they are pretty. One of the things that I think I sent you, Drew, a little photograph, didn't I, this week? One of my sort of additions to my little purchases this week was this thing.
Yes, I must get around. Yeah, I must order that.
Yeah, which is kind of phenomenal, actually. I'd seen it. Caracal had advertised this sheet for. It's been advertised for 3, 4, 5 months.
Yeah, they tend to do advertise a lot of stuff that takes a very long time.
But it has got
a one-man operation.
Yeah. Oh no, the thing is that when it turns up, it's quality stuff. So
yeah, it's fantastic.
So kit, right?
Sorry,
you're going to use the Tamiya kit to start on that?
Well, Drew and I have been talking for at least 3 years. It may even be 4 years about doing a prototype because I want to do number 1. And the kit obviously offers you that one. But also if I go through so that you've kind of got an idea of.
Oh, look at that! I mean, I love Jaws schemes, but Mask 10A schemes as well.
But also, Drew, they do the reversed ones as well.
Oh, look at those!
All right, Spencer, do I have to dig up an old Eschi kit for you?
Oh,
no, because one of the issues with having this sheet and wanting to do the prototype is the prototype's quite a bit different from an A10A.
Got a lot of work there, haven't you?
There's a lot of little things in there. And the biggest sort of issue with changing an A10, Tamiya's kit would probably work okay, actually, is the way that the wing blends into the fuselage. On an A10A, it's got this kind of like fillet. There's like an upturned V. Whereas the A10 it's just flat. It goes up against it and it's 90 degrees.
I was going to mention Craig Sargent because I know Craig's working on one, and I'd never even realised until Craig pointed out that the ejector seat and the nose undercarriage are both from the F-105.
Yes.
Like, really?
Yeah.
And then you go, well, it kind of makes sense. It kind of, there is a kind of sense to it, but it's just like that's off an F-105. Oh yeah. And
I feel that Craig Sargent and Mike Reeves. Have you met Mike Reeves? Do you know that
guy? In passing,
It's like this American guy. Anyway, I feel like they're pushers because Craig Sargent seems to spend his entire life trying to get me to do prototypes and sending me bits for F-15 prototypes, which I haven't done yet. And then sort of we end up chatting about these things. But I think this is of all of Caracal have produced some fantastic sheets, haven't they? Absolutely. And obviously the F-16 sheet that I use for CCV, and I've also got one for the F-18 as well for the Hornet. But this is really.
I tend to find the thing with Caracal is that they do so much stuff that is off the wall that is truly inspirational. That truly makes you want to dig an older kit out and build it.
Yeah.
Because, it's like, although I haven't done it yet, when he released a couple of sheets for the Hasegawa Marlin, it's just, I got them and I'm like, wow. I bought
a Learjet kit when I was in Norway 5, 6, 7 years ago or whatever, just with, just thought, well, that's kind of cool. It was cheap and everything. And then Caracal produced a set of decals for the Learjet and, with overall gloss white schemes and everything. They were just beautiful. I bought the decals just because I thought, oh, that's kind of cool. It's almost, you end up buying decal sheets for kits that you don't necessarily have because you think actually that'll be a really cool sort of thing to do. I mean, Mike's generously sent me a sheet that was for one of the Aggressor F-15s, a Japanese one, and I had no intention of building another Hasegawa F-15 until the decal sheet arrived, and now I'm thinking I've got to build another F-15 because I've got this really cool decal sheet.
And you have F-15 intakes coming your way too, along with some other fun stuff, along with Drewe with some ranch dressing and some F-14 decals.
Oh yeah, because I really want to do the VF1 Splinter scheme from the early 80s.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really, really nice Tomcat. That is. Was there ever a Tomcat that was anything less than nice? No. So
no. No, absolutely not. And I kind of woke up in the middle of the night, as you do, 3:00 in the morning, sort of started looking at my phone and everything, and started Googling images of monograms F-14. What can I do with it? I've got one behind me, and I'd go back to the idea that. Yeah, Mike's the pusher, and I'm sort of looking at it thinking, I want to, do one of those kind of things and everything. But it is funny though. Decals are we all have big collections of decals, I'm sure, but they are something that if I get a bit stuck and I don't really want to build anything, I just look through the decal collection and think,
something pops up. Yeah.
Something
pops up and you want to you want to do it, don't you?
You do, yeah. But you should get the sheet, Drew. I think you'll.
I will do because they're also releasing it in 72nd, and I'll probably buy 2 of those.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I just all the Jaws schemes are great. I want to do the Master 10A schemes, and all the Jaws schemes are great. So.
So if they release it in 72nd scale, then does that mean I've got to go out and buy a Matchbox A10?
Yes, you have,
and do it in Caracal.
Lordy, would you seriously use Caracal decals on the Matchbox A10?
I think there's a slightly fun perversion about the idea of doing that, don't you?
Well, it's certainly deviant thinking. Yes.
I kind of think so. I think that would be kind of a fun thing to do, really. But it is. Going back to it, what we said earlier, I just think that there's a hole out there for earlier versions of famous machines.
Yeah. No, I'm still waiting for Sword to decide they're going to do a Buccaneer S1.
I'm waiting for somebody to say they're doing a 48 scale A10A.
Yeah, that's exactly the point we're making, Mike. Is that that Great Wall Hobby kit is out now, and that's whilst I might love playing the A10C in Digital Combat Simulator, the actual aircraft as an aeroplane is dull as ditch water.
Absolutely.
In terms of schemes, whereas an A10A. An early A10A right through to the mid 80s. There's just so many schemes and stuff you can do. The very, very interesting stuff.
And with the early weapons, the early weapons that they were using back then.
Yeah. And it's exactly the same as what Spence was just saying about the armor. Everybody wants to do the very latest version of the very, the very latest iteration of something rather than, it's the same with. I keep thinking, I wonder if Tamiya are going to revisit the 48 scale Eagle at some point and do an A/C, because I think that at some point Tamiya are going to do a new 48 scale Eagle. I think they will.
I think they're going to have to.
Yeah.
Mainly because everything else out there, and being an Eagle guy, as you guys know, everything out there other than monogram is still subpar in dimensions, in accuracy. Hasegawa was a close second to monogram, and then Tamiya. Great Wall Hobby, to me, their F-15 is the worst of the bunch.
Yeah, it's not a great model, is it? It's
no.
There's too much wrong with that.
Now that said, I've made a lot of money off of it from my business perspective.
Quite.
So I can't complain on that end. But here I am. I'm actually outselling Great Wall Hobby F15 intakes with Hasegawa F15 intakes in 48 scale because everybody wants it. And everybody's got, there's 20 million of the Hasegawa kits out there.
Yeah.
Because they're $20 a piece.
Mike says, I hate the Great Wall Hobby Eagle. It's a terrible model. I absolutely love it. It's made me a ton of money.
But as an F15 guy, it is just an absolute mess of a model. And it all goes back from day one, and everybody can say, well, they corrected it with the emissive tube, blah, blah, blah. No, they didn't. The intakes are still wrong. The fuselage is still deep. The seats are basically like I don't know, 1/60th scale. I mean, they're so big. Or I'm sorry, I'm going the wrong way. 1/28 scale, 1/30. They're almost 1/32nd scale because they're so tall and skinny because the fuselage is so deep. And the landing gear, the nose gear base, so shallow because instead of making the fuselage, cross section almost round, they did this to it, and it screwed up the entire airplane. But hey,
I mean, I'm certainly interested. Having built a Hasegawa one last year, I'm very interested in the idea of building monograms kit, and sort of seeing how that looks dimensionally. I've seen photographs of monograms kit, and it looks fantastic. Still,
it is still to this day the most accurate 48 scale F-15 ever done. By far.
It says an awful lot about kit manufacturers, though, doesn't it? With something that famous that we've had to wait so long, and when we did get one, it was a complete botch. It does show, doesn't it? How,
a complete botch with a huge price tag.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
this Great Wall A10, I've already seen that there's a gajillion problems with it because they're kind of Great Wall to me is now starting to go almost the Kitty Hawk route. Let's put as much stuff that you don't see or need and open every panel that we can because we can do it. But
quite honestly, if I was going to build a 48 scale A10A, I'd spend 30 quid, 32 quid, pick up another Academy one and start hacking.
Yeah. Actually, I'd pick up the old monogram kit.
I think the point you make, though, about adding a lot of things into a kit, I think that's one of the reasons why the 32nd scale Spitfire that came out from Qatar was so impressive, was because it's a curbside kit.
Yeah.
There's an airframe with a cockpit, and that's it. There's nothing else in it. And yet, so they focused on what was important to the modeler and left out everything else, ignored everything else.
Yep.
And as a result of that, it's spectacular. It's superb, I just think, I think these days that it's a lot of model manufacturers are spending an awful lot of time and an awful lot of money creating crap that they don't need to create, to almost say, well, as is better because.
Yeah,
it's eye candy with no real point.
Yeah,
it's technology demonstrating, isn't it?
Just it's like that. It's like that. Is it Magic Factory A4?
Oh, that Skyhawk is going to be a mess.
I look at that and I just go, no. If you're going to do something, look at what Hasegawa got wrong with their basic but lovely kit.
Yeah. Look
at the bits they got wrong, correct them, and do that. Don't sell me a £90 model of a 148. Is that how
much it is?
It's going to be 80-90 quid apparently.
Wow.
Yeah, for a 148 scale Skyhawk. And it's just got all these panels open and all that stuff going on. If I want to do that, I'll do that.
I would imagine if you walk back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, wherever their Skyhawks were parked on the ramp, you're not going to see a bunch of open nose panels and all that. They did that behind the scenes. At least I know with F-15s, all the big maintenance was done elsewhere. They weren't popping panels on an airplane, maybe to change an engine with the Skyhawk because they had to pull basically the airplane in half. But I don't need the avionics bays open because that harkens back to this isn't going to fit.
That's exactly my argument every time, Mike. If I could, if Tamiya did that, I wouldn't have a problem because I know it's going to fit.
Yeah,
I know you're going to build that and not going to, and not be any the wiser. That was a separate panel. Nobody else can do that. Nobody.
But you know what? Do me a favor, Magic Factory. The only real thing wrong with a Hasegawa kit, for me, other than the nose gear with the solid wheel attached, we can all agree that kind of was cheap.
Yeah.
But now we have the Flightline resin replacement that is really cool. But on top of that, fix the slat well. That's all I need. Fix the slat well.
And even that, I mean, I've built that kit numerous times and never done it once, and it's never really bothered me.
No one cares.
No one.
Nobody cares.
Yeah. And the thing with that Hasegawa kit is that's a weekend build.
Yeah.
Isn't it? You could build that to painting or even paint it within a weekend. It's that simple to put together. There's nothing to it. It is an absolute, it's a dream of a kit, really. It's one of those, it's one of Hasegawa's very best kits, there's no doubt about it. Because it's so simple.
I'll be right back.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, it's I've still got half a dozen of them in the stash up in the attic. I've built it a half dozen times, including converting one back to an A4A with a nuclear weapon on it. I've had a lot of fun from that model over the years, and it's a fantastic kit. I know that not everything's right with it. I know some people agonize over the slat well that I really have never cared about because it just everything else about the kit. I know it's got a slightly thick tail at the forward end, but honestly, so I can live with it. I can. I think. It's some stuff really, really irritates me when it's wrong on a model. Other stuff I don't care about. No. I wanted to replace the gun barrel on the Abrams because I thought I could do a better job. Turns out I can do a better job, so I did. I also now know that the blast panels, the blowout panels on the roof of that kit, they're wrong for this for an M1 IP. And I've looked at it and gone, yeah, it's close enough. I'll live with that. You know what I mean? It's like some people are agonizing over it, and I'm not putting that down. I'm just saying that for me, that's one of those things I can live with.
Yeah,
And the Skyhawk Slatwell I can live with.
Yeah.
Whereas that everything else about that Magic Factory A4 just says, I'm not paying 80 or 90 quid for a 48 scale Skyhawk.
That's a 15-year-old build of a Hasegawa Skyhawk right there.
Yeah, I remember you building that.
Still one of my favorite models I've ever built.
Yeah.
It's just
I
can't believe they're planning to charge 90 quid for that Skyhawk.
It's something like that. No, I'm not joking.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah. That's a lot of money for not very much acreage of plastic with a lot of rubbish going on that nobody wants.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. I'd pay 90, as you guys call it, quid for a full meal deal mini art P47 than I would for that Skyhawk. Because I know what I'm getting with mini art.
Yeah.
I'm getting things that make sense.
And I mean, the first release from Magic Factory, the Corsair, it was 2-in-1 for 60 quid, which is actually pretty good value. But then I looked at the surface detail and I went, no, thank you. I looked at the surface detail. I looked at the now 25-year-old Tamiya kit and went, I'll take the Tamiya kit, thanks.
Hey, Mike Williams. It's not the leg that's longer than the other. It's actually the
mounting point, isn't it?
The gear into.
Yeah.
That's longer. And again, the Flightline resin set addresses that, and you don't have to make any modifications.
And again, I've got a half dozen of them and never noticed that. So,
no,
which was never fixed. I can't tell.
Yeah, I've never noticed that either.
I am terrible at showing stuff on camera.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what it looks like, but I don't think it's going to be something that'll, unless it's come through work, it isn't going to cross my desk. But having seen the photographs of it, I don't think it improves on the Hasegawa kit. It's as simple as that. I don't think it does. It offers you other things and other embellishments, but as an improvement over what is fundamentally a sound kit, I don't think it improves much on Hasegawa's version. That's for sure.
And you got to realize that Hasegawa kit's pushing what, 30 years old?
20. It was released 25? Just about 2000, wasn't it? 2000, 2001, something like that.
It just seems older than that because I feel like I've had a million of them.
Thing is, Mike, we sort of look back on 20, 25 years old, and sometimes I get caught out by we go, no, that's been around since the early 90s, and other times it's like, no, that's only 10 years old, and I think it's been around forever. It's like age ceases to have any kind of meaning anymore. It's just nothing makes any sense.
And if we had a wish list that we could do, and I know I'm going to aggravate Craig Sargent right now, but because for some reason he loves the Hasegawa Harriers, the second gen Harriers, because he loves Harriers. I get it. Who wouldn't want a Tamiya 48 scale second gen Harrier that you don't have to fight every step? And Craig has every secret, every trick, every way to fix it, but not everybody does. I've thrown 3 away. 3. One of them I smacked with a hockey stick, famously.
You remember that?
I've only built one. I built a GR9 from mine.
Yeah, I built an AV8B Plus when it was released. I liked the model, but it's definitely a flawed model.
It needs the lurks and everything. It's just it doesn't fit unless you cut. And
I found the easiest way around that was to glue that lurks panel to the wing.
Yeah.
So that it was smooth, so that you created one large section, and then glue that whole section to the top of the fuselage, so that any gaps are only underneath the wing. I think,
but with the undercuts of that wing where the exhaust comes out, to get that seam is a night.
I think the biggest problem with it is the fact that it's those kinked wings.
Yeah, the wings are all wrong, aren't they? It's like I remember spending days with me and Robin Powell looking over that and trying to do something to get the wing to look right.
Yeah, because they kink.
Yeah.
If you remember, Drew, I bought a copy of that kit at Yeovilton one year, and you were here, and you were
no, that was me. I came over to see you because I was training in the police at the time.
Yeah.
And we pulled it apart and went, that's wrong.
Yeah, I'm going to take credit right now over both of you. I was the first one to call it out on hyperscale back in the day. Literally the first one that said you have to cut that one area, like saw it, to bring the kink out.
That's what I did. I cut it underneath the wing.
Excuse me.
I think I cut one side of the outrigger bay.
Yeah, I mean, I think we ended up
brought it down and glued it so that it flattened it off.
I think we ended up using a P scriber to scribe the inside of the upper wing. That allowed you to bend it down.
Yeah,
and then had to actually remove the portion of the lower wing outboard of the outrigger well and sand it and then glue it back into place. And that sort of that sorted it out. And then all you had was like a very slight bump where you bent the wing down on the top side. That was literally a couple of swipes. But it's one of those. I mean, it's like Craig says there: fix the kink once, not bothered since. It's one of those things that doesn't bother Craig in the way that it really, really irritates me.
Yeah, it bothers me no end.
It's like Craig. I know the slat well on the Skyhawk really bothers him. I couldn't care less.
Yeah, we all pick our poisons, right?
Different people, different things for different people.
Those wings really irritated me, and also the intakes on that kit as well. They just seemed like they were all over the place, and I was like,
yeah. I mean, I think the thing we rapidly came to the conclusion with that the thing was where the fan has that piece that mounts into the forward fuselage. You have to remove that locator, and allow the forward fuselage to find its own place.
Yeah,
and
I ended up. I was
a millimeter or two out of line with the fan. but not noticeably so. But if you actually try and mount the fuselage into that mounting point on the fan, the whole thing just falls apart.
Craig makes this is quite interesting because I can tell you a little story about this. He said that Harrier was an accurate miniatures design. Now I can tell you a story is towards the end of the roundabout kind of like 1997-ish. So this is back in the Humbrol era.
I can remember discussing this with you at the time, John.
You do remember it. Drew remembers it. And Trevor Snowden went to America. He was dispatched by Humbrol, who were the then owners of Airfix, to meet Bill Bosworth because there was going to be a cooperative kit between Humbrol Airfix and Accurate Miniatures for the Harrier 2. So Humbrol Airfix were going to have all the RAF versions, and Accurate Miniatures were going to do all the American versions. It never happened, essentially. We know it didn't happen because it clearly didn't happen, but it all fell through. And as Craig says, a lot of the design work ended up with Hasegawa. So
wow,
a little bit of history there, folks.
Wow, that's really interesting. I didn't know that at all. That's fantastic.
No. Drew knows it because if you remember, Drew, we were literally there with kind of like a pen trying to work out how you could break it down without it being massively overcomplicated. Yeah,
I remember Craig telling me about it when I think he was at my house at one point, and I was like, "No kidding." And I think Bill Bosworth had mentioned to me a little bit about it, but he said keep it on the down low. And so whenever anybody asks me to do that, I absolutely don't say a thing. So
wow, that's interesting.
I've got a visitor here who is reminding me that actually we might need to wrap things up in the next 5 minutes or so. But you know what? We've been going. We're almost heading towards a 90-minuter, so I think we should go for the 90 minutes. So
yeah,
I'm
going to make a quick shout out to the Scale Model Shed because I was there this week again, spending money, and Andy's mentioned when I was out there that he might be interested in putting some stuff our way. And he kicked it off by giving me this, which is something that Edward have done as a limited edition. And it's an etched brass P40 outline.
that's kind of cool.
It's beautiful, and I'm kind of thinking I might want to put that on a piece of plastic or something and spray through it to see what happens.
Very cool.
Because that was so. Thanks very much to Andy at Scale Model Shed for that, and shout out, and we'll see you soon. Because obviously I go out there frequently and spend lots of money.
I'd also like to shout out to them as well because I very nearly ran out of VMS satin varnish this week, and I ordered 2 bottles from them, and also a nozzle for my Pro Convoy, and it came the very next morning. So thanks.
Funny thing was, Spence, I was out there chatting to Andy. He said, "Oh yeah, Spencer just placed an order with me," and for some reason he ordered a Pro Convoy nozzle, and I had one in stock, and I've got no reason why I had it in stock. Yes. I've got no idea why I had it.
It was, and it was because I looked at it because I was sort of servicing the airbrushes and everything, and I thought, I'm sure that nozzle on that Pro Convoy is not quite right. It looks like it's slightly off. In fact, the needle is slightly off as well, but I couldn't get a replacement for those. But I think I placed an order with Scale Model Shed at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and it arrived at 11 o'clock the following morning. So so I ended up with, I think I've got 2.5 bottles of this stuff now. I started to panic when I realized that I was running out. I was thinking, oh my God, I can't possibly run out of this stuff. But he's brilliant. And I have to say that the service from those guys has been
he did say Spence just ordered 2 more bottles of VMS satin varnish. I got 8 fresh bottles in stock yesterday, and I've got 1 left now.
Oh really? Well, there we go.
He literally cannot get enough of that in stock.
Well, I've also got one of the matte varnish, the XXL matte as well, which I haven't really used that much.
I tend to use that on interiors and things. When I've
yeah, I guess so. I don't really varnish interiors that often. I think what I would use it on would be a figure, maybe if I was painting a figure and I got cloth on it or something like that. But I noticed there was a little bit of a discussion because I put a picture of these two bottles and there was discussion. People say, "Oh, I haven't got the best from it," and I was really pleased when you came up and said, "What you need to do is crank your airbrush pressure up to 100 psi and basically just spray one wet coat over everything so that it looks horrible and just let it set." And I thought, yeah, that's the way to do it.
It's exactly the way to do it, isn't it? Just blast the coat on till it's just shy of actually running or pooling.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then walk away.
Don't
Don't second guess this. Don't agonize over it. Do that. Put the model down. Walk away and have a cup of coffee or do whatever. And come back later.
I'm a little bit VMS envy here. I've only got the small bottles, but
I got two of each of the big ones because of you guys. So shout out to you guys.
Well, Drew and I got tuned into this because this was Martin, wasn't it? Martin Kovac was doing it on night shift, and we were watching it, and we were like, "This stuff looks amazing," and then we got some and fell in love with it.
This week Spencer's talking about it and people are going to Spence. Oh, yeah, I got onto it thanks to Spencer's recommendation. Thanks, Spence. I'm like, what, am I invisible here?
I just want to have a quick shout out to our friends in Australia. Hang about, just trying to change screens at the moment. There, oh no, I can't do it. Oh, goodness sake. It's all right. My virtual camera's gone. There we go. Our friends in Australia, and it's the Scale Modelers Supply. And about 10 days ago, a package turned up. I'd asked them if they would send me a set of their single edge nippers because I was seeing people talking about them. I was curious to give them a go. Not only did they send me the single edge ones, they sent me their double edge nippers as well. And honestly, Drew, these are phenomenal. They to quote Brick from Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels, these go through bone like butter. They are incroyable. It's that word again. And I'm a bit late to the party, I know, but I have fallen in love with my ceramic seam scraper. Just absolutely phenomenal. It makes me realize how I've been doing things wrong down the years using metal blades for scraping seams. As soon as you start using this, it's a real kind of like light bulb moment. So I don't know if you use one, Spence.
No, I don't.
No, I don't know if you use one, Mike.
No.
I know Drew uses them.
No, I don't. I haven't got one.
You haven't got one? Oh, right. Okay, there you go. I'm in a league of my own then. That is absolutely a phenomenal bit of kit. And I will be doing some more pop-up lives where I'll be kind of like showing it in action. But yeah, it honestly, big shout out to the, like I say, big shout out to the Scale Modelers Supply for sending us that because they're fabulous. Absolutely terrific, terrific things to work with. And like I say, I'm like Drew. We're building these Meng Dune kits at the moment. And as we're saying at the beginning of the show, I'm looking forward to actually going to the cinema in a couple of weeks' time to see Dune Part 2 at the fabulous Cleveland Curzon, which is just on the road from here. And I'm hoping, fingers crossed, this week that I'll be going to see giant lizard punching giant ape. So
I thought they were buddies now.
They are they're best buds now, apparently. Yeah. It's essentially it's kind of like Lethal Weapon with monsters. So anyway, gents, it has been an absolute pleasure to have you all here this evening.
Good show.
Can I interject one thing, Jonathan?
Go on then, Mike.
And I apologize. I'm not trying to
No, you apologize.
I personally want to thank everybody who supports my little company behind me.
Mm-hmm.
I recently just rolled over 6,500 orders in 4 years.
Well done, Mike.
That's something I never would have dreamed of or had counted on. But the support that I'm getting from across the globe has been nothing short of absolutely mind-boggling. And just being able to send, my parts out to people around the world has been amazing. And I also want to obviously thank the people that have been along the way that have helped me. Every 500 orders, I do this big fun giveaway, and you can see it here. The Mang F4 is going out tomorrow with a bunch of parts and stuff. But this has been a great ride, and I hope that we can continue to do.
Long may it continue, Mike. Long may it continue.
Yeah,
and luckily I've got, like, Craig Sargent wants me to do Fusion today, but he doesn't realize that it's Easter here in Phoenix, and I won't be home. But he and Rich Van Zant are helping me learn the 3D print game.
Easter here again.
Yeah, hard to believe.
Hard to believe. Time for the blind to see.
Anyhow, I just wanted to take that moment and thank you guys, the three of you, for allowing me to have this time with you as not just friends but colleagues.
Always a pleasure, Mike. Always a pleasure. I'm also getting hauled over the coals here by a couple of people who reminded me that Brick is from Snatch, not Lock, Stock. As soon as I said it, I suddenly thought, "Oh, I've got the wrong film, haven't I?" So
I did spot it, but I thought somebody will be well ahead of me. Somebody will be ahead of me.
Nerd alert.
I know. Gents, I am going to thank you for tonight. That has been absolutely tremendous. Hopefully, well, actually, I'm going to say next Sunday is going to be, I'm just trying to call up the graphic here. Next Sunday, we've got Ian Hartup is joining us for another car special. And for goodness sake, I actually did do a graphic for this, and I've lost the graphic, so never mind. Nothing new there, folks. So like I say, next Sunday will be a car special with Ian Hartup. Ian, by the way, who said, "Am I all right?" Yeah, I was a bit quiet tonight. I was just listening to you guys. It's nice to be able to sit back and
there's three other windbags in this room that take over.
And a very late interloper that just bossed his way in.
His way through the door.
I was late as well, Spencer, by about 20 minutes. So I guess we're both that guy.
You both know you are always more than welcome. But like I say, next Sunday it will be myself and Ian Hartup. So I'm looking forward to that. Primarily because I want to pick Ian's brain, because I'm trying to wrap my little Mini Cooper project up as well. So
nice.
I might do a pop-up live in the meantime as well. So until next Sunday, it remains for me to say thank you to everybody who tuned in tonight. Really do appreciate your support over the last, goodness me, chaps, 4 years.
Oh, good Lord.
I know.
Has it been that long?
Yeah.
4 years, yeah.
Well, you guys are looking older.
Yeah. So until then, as always, thank you for joining us tonight. Thanks to Drewfus, to Spence, to Mike. Thank you, everybody. And we'll see you hopefully in a week's time. So until then, stay safe, stay out of trouble. See you soon.
Boom.
Cheers, everybody.